Hello, crafty friends, and welcome back. I have another layout for Scraptember, and today's prompt is double page layout, I believe. And let's see, I'm also playing along with Off the Board. And here is my pen. It says, Dream it, plan it, do it. And so I was kind of inspired by the colors, and I was inspired by the quote as well, even though I did change it up just a little bit. So, um, this base paper that I'm using, that is from the newer collection by Photoplay. It was called Travel Junk. And so I used the two pages that were similar to create my base. And then the blue paper, that those are two scraps from, well, not scraps, I cut off sections from a 49 market paper, and I think that was from Crafty Garden. And so then here, this is, I think this is also 49 market. I'm not sure specifically which collection this is from, but it was one of their solids that's not a solid, that kind of reads like a solid, but is has some texture to it. So you can see I did have to kind of piece that together, but I knew most of it was going to be, well, not most of it, but like the seams are going to be covered up. So there you can see that my mom had written on the back of one of these photos, and I do have this saved digitally, and I could have reprinted it, but since it was my mom's handwriting and not an original photo from my great great grandparents where they had written on the back, that I went ahead and used the original picture. So what I am documenting today is some heritage pictures, and these are, I guess you would call them like house campers, or like one of the first kinds of built in, like an RV, I guess, or like a travel camper where the car was built around a vehicle. So my great great grandfather built his first, what do they call it, motorhome in 1926, and so that is the one that you see on the left hand side. That I have two different similar pictures, that one has the door open and the other one has both my great great grandma and great great grandpa. So I believe it is, I'll have to write down their names, that I know it is Clifton was my great great grandfather, and I'll have to find the book to, my heritage book, to remember what her name was. So here you can see that I have pulled out some other bits and pieces, and there you can also see where I did alter the title as well, that instead of do it, I used build it, because he did build both of these himself. And they used to travel to Florida. So in the far right picture, that actually shows his second house car that he built, and his friends from Florida actually called it a gadabout. And amongst the tin can tourists is what they called themselves in Florida. And so they would drive to Florida, and what I can only assume is in the wintertime, because I believe they lived a lot of their years around the Midwest, in Iowa, and possibly in Nebraska, but I'm guessing mostly in Iowa. And so that was where they stayed and camped while they were traveling around. And so if you've watched my channel at all, this is the same great grandparents, great great grandparents, where I documented the picture of them that was published in a National Geographic magazine in 1940, where they were walking in Yellowstone National Park and hand in hand. So if you're interested, you can go back into my channel and find that layout from earlier this month. And this is actually the same couple here. So here, just getting my pictures down over my layers that I had created. And okay, so here on my title that I used these old chipboard letters and I didn't have enough T's. So I did create a T using an L and just cut that off. And so now I'm just checking for spacing. I didn't really press down the letters too hard, and plus since they were old, I knew that they wouldn't stick completely to my layout. So here I'm really just checking for spacing, and then I do come back in later with liquid glue to make sure that they are going to stick. So at this point, I think I have already... No, I haven't, because I'm going to come in here later and add some rub-ons as well to give some texture to some of these, mostly the orange paper that was similar to a solid, and I just felt it needed some more texture and depth. So let's see. And so some of these embellishments that are actually from a digital collection that I don't do a lot of digital, but when I originally found out that Katie Petit was leaving 49 Market and didn't know when or where she was going to be designing anymore, then I decided I needed to figure out how to use her digital collections. And so this was actually an older collection that she designed for Simple Stories. It was an Ancestry line, and at the time it came out, I didn't purchase it because I wasn't sure if I would use it. And so then I went in and found the digital pieces and used my the print and cut function, so you can buy it digitally and print it out, and then it is automatically set up to cut that out. So I didn't have to fussy cut each of these pieces, that my Cricut was set up to do that for me. So I actually, since I cut these out, that I have not tried to do that again, but I need to go explore that option here again and see if there's anything else. Maybe I want to give it a try. So, and here now I have brought out the rub-ons that I mentioned earlier, and these are actually from a super old 49 Market travel collection. That it was some rub-ons with map pieces, and so I'm just kind of cutting it all apart and finding various pieces around the layout to add some of these bits and pieces. And so this was my first layer, and then I kind of felt like it needed a little more, and at some point I probably should have stopped before I went too far. But so there's a couple pieces that I wish I hadn't have added to the layout, but the rub-ons, they're down and it's fine. Mostly when I decide to start adding them to the blue section above the first part of the title where it says Dream It. And so when I did put down each of my background layers, I did make sure to put the adhesive just in the middle, because I knew I was probably going to be coming in with some kind of layering pieces, and I had already considered that I was going to do some rub-ons. So that way it was easier for me to pull those back up and make sure that that straight edge, when I was cutting some of those in half, would fall underneath where the picture was. So And I'm not sure if it was just because these rub-ons were going on top of a color, but some of them looked like they had lost their brightness of what the coloring was. So, they are probably at least 5 or 6 years old. So, and it was also going on top of a darker colored piece of paper. So it is what it is that some of them have kind of a strange milky color on them, but that may have just been how the rub-on was. So here you can see that I am now starting to glue down my title. I don't make you watch me do all that. And so here is where I start to come in with some additional that I did pull out the rub-ons from Terracotta, which was a 49 a market collection. And so now I'm just kind of layering bits and pieces of that on top of the map rub-ons I'd already added. And just to kind of give some additional layers to what was already there. Had this butterfly that was cut off, and instead of stapling and putting it back into the packaging, I just decided to go ahead and put it there just for additional decoration. And here's where I wish I would have just stopped with the rub-ons, but I decided to pull out some blue ones and add it up here. Oh, actually, I don't mind this one that I added down here at the bottom. It was kind of like these lighter blue colored gears, and just to kind of add to that tiny little corner bit that I added underneath on the orange. Oh, and then, okay, so I did remember that I had wanted to include this cello tape. It's a Tim Holtz product. They are actually stickers made to look like old tape that you would have seen on heritage scrapbooks that your ancestors had created. And so I just found 3 places that I wanted to include those. And then on each of those corresponding pieces that I have some old stash wood buttons from Prima. And after I looked through them, I decided to do 3 stars, and I pull out my cream colored trim here, and this top one where I guess I didn't put I put a circle at the top here, and then the other 2 I chose stars. And so on this one, since it was different, I did tie a bow, and then the other 2 I just tie a straight knot and leave the threads straight. So there you can see I have that first one, and so I put each of those wood buttons along the 3 different places that I put the cello tape. So got my visual triangle going on there. And let's see, what else do I do? Once I get that done, I think we're pretty much done. I do go ahead on this one and add some gold sprinkles around the layout. Out here I did decide to go ahead and add, oh yeah, I haven't done the rub-ons that I wish I hadn't done. This is where I wished I would have stopped, that I was fine with everything as it was, but then when I put that last rub-on on, I was kind of like, well, I feel like it's just, I don't know, it felt naked and unbalanced, and so I pull out this partial compass, and I don't know, they feel disconnected the way I put them on, and so maybe I will go in and add some more, but probably not. I'm just gonna let it be. And so I cut out a couple more blue paint splotchy rub-ons here that I'm going to use. I think those were from Rust and Revs, probably the original one. I don't think I purchased the rub-ons for 2.0. So I get those down, and then I think the final thing that I'm going to do is add my sprinkles using the Nuvo Gold Spray, and I just add that around the layout in some various places. So let me know down below what you think of my rub-ons. When would you have stopped? Or is it okay? See, here I am. I'm like, oh, do I need to add more? What do I need to do? So just showing you some close-ups. Here's where I'm adding my sprinkles. And so I will have a playlist listed down below for everybody playing along with Off the Board, as well as on Off the Board. Did I already say that? I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day. Anyway, there's playlists down below. Go check them out. Here come the close-up shots. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave those down below. And hopefully this gave you some inspiration to maybe pull out some heritage photos of your own. And I really wish that he would have patented this, because then maybe I could just scrapbook for fun and not have to work. But I have to work and just scrapbook in my free time. So anyway, thank you for stopping by, and we will see you next time. Bye.